an Americano, small, and carrot cake. And what can I get that's hot? What's the Aki sandwich like?
It's actually on saltfish with plantains and 2 minutes of peppers.
I don't want the plantains because they're very ripe. No, I don't want the plantains. Thank you. This looks really good, even though I don't take espresso by itself. And then the cookies, I feel like I'm a ginger spice girl. Okay, I love chai, and I wanted to do this entire series with chai lattes, but everywhere doesn't have a good chai or have a chai at all, so I couldn't do that. But and then they have apple juice, also easy apple juice, which is Jamaican apples. Oh, thank you. Oh, okay. Thank you. First of all, so we have here, we have an Aki sandwich, and it smells really nice. There's a lot of seasonings. There's more seasonings than Aki, and sometimes I feel like I like when my Aki doesn't have all of the. I want the seasonings, but I don't want all of the too much of the stuff in the. All right, let's see. Mm, mm. All right, so the national dish of Jamaica is Aki and saltfish. Saltfish is cod. Usually it's salted, and that's legacies of slavery. Back when they had to preserve food and we didn't have refrigeration, they would salt meats, right, to keep them. So we still use that to this day. Aki, it's a buttery, it's a fruit. It grows in a pod, two or three akis in a pod. It's yellow and it's got these black seeds on the top. And in its raw form, it's poisonous. The little pink thing in the middle that connects it to the pod is poisonous. But when you take it out, you boil them first. And then when you boil them, you can eat them just like that. So when you eat it just like that, as boiled, it tastes very fresh, but it's very buttery. So depending on the fruits, they can be so soft so that it can just mash. It almost reminds you of like scrambled eggs in consistency. That's how it can be when it's boiled. But some of them tend to stick together, so they not stick together. They stay solid even when boiled. And then you you cook it down, so you season your pots the way Jamaicans do. So, onions, scallion, garlic, thyme, black pepper, all these things, tomatoes, green peppers, or sweet peppers, if you will. And it takes the flavor of whatever. So it's kind of like um, a blank canvas in a way. So it takes the flavor. So people will not just use saltfish to go with it. They might do herring. They might do. I've seen people do bacon. Um, Another thing that people use to describe ackee is nutty. It's got a nutty flavor. So you really have to be like in the food critics world to know what that means. But it's I would say primarily very buttery. Yes, nutty, and kind of in texture like scrambled eggs, but not in flavor. It does not have a neck taste. So because it's such a blank canvas, it pairs really well with lots of things and bread, just like egg with bread or something else, and breakfast food with egg with bread. It goes really well. And then cocoa bread, it's made with milk and it's very doughy, as you can see, but it's kind of sweet. And so you put something that's now mixed with salt with sweet, amazing. It's very good. It's very hot. This is very good. Um, I feel like this is quintessential Jamaican breakfast. It's chock full of seasoning, ackee, of course, which is our national dish, ackee and saltfish, and a coconut bread like Jamaican breakfast, really. Um, and then we got carrot cake and an Americano, my usual. I like how I've been turning this into breakfast food as well. I've been tempted by the menu each time, even though I'm only supposed to be getting carrot cake and coffee. I've been tempted to get something from each of their breakfast menus. So here I have the carrot cake, and let's just look at this. Look at this Tower of Babel. Well, maybe not Tower of Babel because that's associated with a negative story, but look at this structure, right? So it's firm. It's got it's tangy and it's cold. The cream cheese, I'm getting it. The spice is right, not too sweet. Five. But I'm already telling you, five. And can I tell you that from the moment we saw this carrot cake, we knew it was gonna be good. Let's try the Americano. You see, before previously, feedback was that it was harsh grading on the rest of them. But I know when it's supposed to taste good, it's supposed to make me feel like I need to come back down to downtown to get this. And look, they mashed the pecans. Yeah, they mashed they crushed these look like pecans, and then push them into the cream cheese. And I believe they've done that for each layer. Amazing. Amazing. I think a plane is gonna take off. It's gorgeous. You're literally looking at the waterfront and looking across at the planes going out of the Kingston airport. This is a really beautiful coffee shop. All right, so this Americano is good. I'm getting more of the nutty flavor out of this one. It's interesting. It's somewhere in between. So I'm getting the tang, the tartness, but I don't know. It's not bad. I'm getting a little of the burnt flavor, but the coffee is good. So I'm trying to figure out how to rate this in between. Is it like it has to be in between, right? So if I gave somewhere else like a 3, that was okay. Sorry. And then the baby fork. Baby fork. I don't have enough coffee language to describe this. So I'm gonna work on this. But right now, the carrot cake is winning. And the last one I gave a 5 is still a 5, but this has superseded that one. Just because it's cold and also it's 3 layers, okay? And the nuts, I don't have to do all the work on the nuts because they're mashed. Anyways, I'm not gonna spend 5 minutes on this. Ties That Tether by Jane Igaro. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. This book is written by a Nigerian Canadian author, and it also centers a Nigerian Canadian woman and her experiences dating. And basically, she ends up with a white man, and her mother has histrionics over it. And she not only ends up, I'm telling you the spoiler, but it's still interesting enough to read. Whenever you hear me tell you a spoiler, just know it's still worth the ride, okay? She basically ends up pregnant by this man, and her mother, of course, wants her to date somebody who is African from the community. Mind you, they're in Canada, so all the immigrant children, you know, you have this, or even immigrant adults, you have this thing with identity, right? So you're trying to assimilate and you're trying to get your understanding, right? So it might be an accent thing, or it might just be a cultural thing, right? And what you eat for lunch, right? but also, you want to belong, but you also want to maintain your identity from where you're from. And so there's a little bit of managing that. There's a star best friend in this, they always have supporting cast. But I want to give you a line. So it says, very dramatic, but this was written in, and I thought it was kind of, it was a good sentiment to refer to this book. So it says, sentenced to live cautiously and love selectively, right? So because of her strict upbringing, she's basically, her chart has been or path has been charted for her. And so she has to be really selective. So, it's like you start feeling something for somebody, but they don't fit the criteria, the demographic. It's expected of you. What do? You just stop your feelings. It doesn't really work that way, right? So this lady is trying to decide if she follows her heart or her mother's commands to only date within her culture. And I say it was a 3, and I don't feel like I regret reading this book, but it also wasn't very striking. Like there wasn't anything about it that was, for me, like life changing. However, I feel like, again, there's so many people that have the immigrant experience or the strict parent experience. It might be a religious thing. If you're a strict Christian and you date somebody who is not in the church, or you're Nigerian or Ghanaian or whatever it is, and your parents are just not having it for someone who is not of your ethnicity, not even just race, but just ethnicity within Nigerians, right? If he's not Igbo or whatever it is, it's just a no go. I feel like this could really resonate with you. All right. Oh, I forgot to tell you. So the sandwich has plantain in it. So there, I don't know if you can see, but sweet plantain, red plantain. So that, adds, again, I was talking about the salty and the sweet, or the savory and the sweet. So good. So the second book is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I don't know why I'm so excited to talk about this. All right, so first of all, Ali Hazelwood is one of my, anything she writes I will read. Like, I'm not gonna I'll ask questions after I'll read it. But this was a 2.5 out of 5 for me because, first of all, the setting is not about the fact that it's set in college. Sometimes I get the ick when I read about people, who are younger than me, and I don't know, it's just not, I'm not at that time in my life, so it just feels a little bit uncomfortable for me sometimes. And I didn't really feel that in this case. These people are adults, but the excitement for it's definitely a certain demographic. A little bit toxic, a little bit of kink, which I don't think they were hyping it as like super kink, and I'm like, where is it? Like, not that I need more, but this is not worth all what they're talking about. So I thought it was gonna be some like, I don't know, like not for go one side and read this type of thing. It really wasn't that bad. But what I was disappointed by, Ali Hazelwood usually for me is a 4 out of 5 or a 5. And it was a 2.5 for me just because the banter wasn't there. We spent more time with the characters apart than together. And I can't. I read romance to see the romance develop. And I feel like, yes, there was a romance. But I don't know. I think all the other things people like, college stories, sports romance, because they're both athletes. And also, I think Ali Hazelwood writes the supporting characters usually really good. There's always a best friend. And the best friend wasn't evil, the best friend was annoying. And let me tell you how messed up this book was. I'm remembering as I'm talking about it. Sorry, I'm looking out the window. I'm looking at all the cars fast. And I love light. So the fact that there's so many windows, I just get distracted, but I'm talking to you. So the last thing was just the friend dated the guy before, and then she was like, yeah, I think you'd be great for each other because she wasn't into the stuff he was into. And she found out the girl was into that. And okay, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Recommend somebody else. Don't recommend me to your ex-boyfriend who you're done with, because I don't know about that. But I will still go back and read anything this lady writes because she is academic who turned into a writer, and I just really respect anybody who can do more than one thing well, especially something like academia where they treat it like your whole job is scientific papers and journal publications, like, and lab experiments. So that's the second book. The Leavers by Lisa Go. So it's Ko, but I think in Korean the K's make like a G sound, I think. Um, so this book was recommended to me. This is a 5 out of 5, by the way. It was recommended to me because I use a Storygraph, which is a reading tracking app, and there's this challenge about reading around the world. So there's like, over the course of this year, it recommends 10 countries, and you have to pick from a list of books from authors from those countries. And this author is from Korea, South Korea. This boy that grows into a man who was adopted, and into a white family, and his mom, but before he was adopted he grew up with his mom, and his mom left, and this is a whole saga. It's very heart-wrenching. I feel like if I wasn't so used to reading emotional books, I think I primarily read emotional books. It would probably make me cry, and not because it was overly traumatic. I think in the end there was a happy ending, but it was very up and down. Like, it takes you on a journey. And one of the reasons I think this book is so like timeless is the experience of the immigrant tour. We have a family that people came to the US and then had to go back. You know, of course they came illegally, and then when they got straightened out, and then even when they got straightened out, they found that they had better chances going back after having come to the US to learn English and having that international experience. And I just feel like so many people, given, did I say China? I meant Korea, I'm so sorry. Given the immigrant experience that happens so often, for adoptees as well, and also for minority children who are adopted, who get, or minoritized ethnic groups who get adopted to white people, because there are just more white people looking to adopt children than fewer white children who are available for adoption to them. And so there were so many things. It talks about addiction with gambling. It talks about creativity and what you pursue that works for you. Morning. It talks about the different paths that people take and how they end up in different places. It talks about, it gives parallels of two children who are adopted. So they had similar circumstances basically. And, they go into different directions in life. And I just feel like I was really, really, there was a lot in this book, and it was written really well. It didn't feel rushed. There was a lot in there. It didn't feel rushed, and I feel like it would make a really good book club pick, because there were times when you really hated the main character and his behavior, and you get to understand a little bit of where he's coming from, and people hurt themselves and it hurts other people. I also need to remember to add this to my academics tag, because his adoptive parents were also, they tried to erase his culture. Every time he talked to them in Korean, they tell him English. They changed his name. Oh my God, I'm getting mad now because I'm remembering. They changed his name. His name was perfectly fine. It wasn't that complicated of a name, but you know how these people can be. They changed his name. They forced him to be called something else, and he got separated from his cousin who was still alive. And then, oh my God, I'm remembering now. It was kind of traumatic for the reader, and I know I've grown, because there was a time where I would stop reading this book, because if I feel very empathetic, and I feel like if I feel too much of the trauma of the person, especially young children, I can't. So I know that I've grown because I'm a little stronger and able to read some of these things, but that's why I think this book was a 5 for me, because you feel things in a world where there are so many pieces of art and craft and literature that are all good, but something that at the end of the day you feel like you have a new perspective, or it makes you feel something. We all just want to feel something, right? I feel like that's why it was special. Children of the Land by Marcelo Hernández Castillo. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. No part of this book was a pleasure to read. It was not a pleasure to read. It was a hard read. And it wasn't a hard read like Leave Us, that was a hard read, but it was so beautiful at the same time. It was a hard read like I wanted to finish it. To DNF means did not finish this book multiple times. But why I pushed through is because this book is the lived experience of so many people. It's a book about immigration. It's a book about Mexicans and their immigration to the US and what they deal with to get there. We're talking about people walking through days worth of desert, the dogs survive more than people. Sometimes people just die because they get left behind. Just for the chance of a better life for yourself and your children. This book is relevant. It will always be relevant because there are people who will forever be trying to go to the US from Mexico or who have done it. There were multiple generations in this book. There are 3 generations in this book. It was written by a man who is a poet and an educator, and he talks about his parents and their experiences. The dad came, the dad got deported, the mother was there. ICE came looking for them, things that are happening to this day. And this book was written in, I don't know, it wasn't that long ago. It was first published in 2020, right? These things are still happening today, right? Again, no part of this was a pleasure to read, but it's just so relevant. This was also one of the books from the Read Around the World Challenge on the Storygraph. So this was clearly related to Mexico. The one that I did I think I did did I talk about Tale of the Flower Bride? Like Tale of the Last Flower Bride. That was from the Philippines. That was also in that challenge. But anyways, it's a good book. It's not exciting. It's never exciting. And it's not enjoyable. But it's very relevant. A part of me just wants to just lean back and rock, but then you can't see me, so never mind. Um, Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. So this I gave a 3 out of 5 stars, and I just want to fight her. Right, you see the character, she just needed a therapist because she have a guy that's like down bad for her, like down it like gone, okay, and she's gonna like break up with him because she feels like she got some terrible advice. Not she feels, let me start over. She got some terrible advice that somebody was actually trying to sabotage her, and she took that terrible advice. And now this person who's like head over heels for her, she's pretty much gonna lose him. Anyways, honestly, that's all I have to say about this book. Let me say 2 more things. First of all, the standout character here, and I hate when it happens, is the guy. I don't want to say I hate when it happens, but when I read romance, I'm kind of expecting the stronger of the 2 characters to be the girl. I don't know why, but sometimes, rarely, every now and then, you see the guy be a stronger character. There's nothing wrong with that per se, but it just makes me feel like less of it's dumb, not like less of a feminist, but like it's not the right way or something. I don't know. But anyways, he was more, and this is what they call a sunshine grumpy trope. So the girl is super, yay, happy go lucky, and the guy is like super like, oh, I'm angry type. And the only person who, he's not angry with is her. So we have that. So if you heat that trope up, this is very good. Like he's grumpy. Okay, he don't talk to nobody. He don't go outside for nobody. He's about his work and this girl, and that's it. And then the other standout character were the flowers. I learned a lot about like florists and like rare flowers and stuff like that from this book. And I feel like those were more interesting than the girl. She just needed to go to a therapist and get over it. And I hate when the main character, especially the girl, is the weak one in the story. But whatever. It still gets a 3 just because, again, any book that makes you feel something, even if it's just very strong anger towards a character, I feel like does its job. But yeah. The book after this, though, Not Another Love Song, will come to that. I don't think I've talked to you guys about it. I've read it. I read it right after by the same author. 5 out of 5. But we'll get to it. But that book, down in the history books, like, need a physical copy. We'll read it multiple times. Insane. Insane. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. 4.5 out of 5 stars. This book was special. It's a love story that isn't even really a romance. It's like a will they, won't they through the whole thing. And sometimes with will they, won't they, it's like you can't wait till the end till they get back till they get together. And all through the book, you don't know if they get together. But there was true love shown in so many forms in this book: parental, brotherly, friendship, and romantic. And I just feel like this book is just about love. I think this is a really good example about, oh, also of things that you do love for, like your vocation, like a passion of something. So this is centered around game design. So the two main characters, they love to play games, or they were gamers, and then they grew up to work in design, game design, and they had a company together and everything. And it follows their relationship also with their friends. So it's almost like a three thing with their close friend. And at some point, one of the characters was sick, and he grew up, and there was such good character development in this. It's a really special book, and I don't want to spoil it, but I'll just say that this book is, it gave me a new perspective on love of something that seems trivial. So like I said game art and game design, right? Somebody, all the games that as a kid you'd burn through, you play all the levels and you're like, okay, that's it. Like somebody worked on that. That was somebody, an entire year of somebody's life or more, you know? And I really enjoyed that the author, she must have done research, because that's not her general field. I love books that you can tell the author had to do research about it, because they speak with such depth of knowledge. Because sometimes you can tell when they just give, okay, the character is a game developer and that's it, and it doesn't say much about anything else. It's very surface level. Yeah, they had a meeting, they had a launch, they had this, they had a server crash, whatever, right? But there was like depth of knowledge in it, and it has tragedy without being too traumatic. And I'm just trying to say a lot about the book and give it high praise without spoiling it. But I feel like this is one of the books that makes me want to, I think about starting a book club sometimes. I don't think I can do it this year. I don't know if next year will be the year either. Because, you know, sometimes when you do your job well, they give you more work. Yeah, that kind of situation. But I want to start a book club, but I want to start a book club that's like a love, not just like a romantic love, but like a love book club. And this is a book that I felt like showed love so strongly. I read a lot of romance, right? But it really just showed me that I just love love in general, because it wasn't mostly about romance. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's book 6. All right, so the food was good. Um, I am not one. I always pick out all the red things and green things in Aki, and I ate it all. Yum, 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 yum. Yummy. Carrot cake, I really like. It's a very simple presentation, but it's very effective, right? 3 layers, they mash the pecans on top. I've said this already, but I'm gonna say it again because it's good. You can get carrot pieces in there. It's spicy. It's not so sweet. The tang from the cream cheese, like it's got all the points going. The coffee I've been thinking about. Sometimes I don't know the brewing, if it's brewed too much or too little. It tastes a little bit more sour, and that's what I'm getting. But it's like it's clearly very good coffee. I can taste that it's good quality coffee, but I don't know how to explain what's happening, why it's sour. Um, so for that reason, but I can taste it's good coffee, and it's making my eyes do the thing. So you know it's strong. Um, this is a 5. I'm gonna give this a. I want to give this a 4. And I actually think it should get a 3.5, but I can taste, I feel like if I ask them to remake it, it might come out better. Because I don't know how to, I personally don't know how to describe what's happening. But, so overall, this gets an average of a 4 for food. Actually, 4.5, because the Aki sandwich is really good. 4.5. I would come here just to eat. They have a really good menu. I was here during the breakfast rush, and I've seen a lot of people come in and get food, come down to the second counter to get food, not just the coffee. So it looks like it does business as much for the food as it does for the coffee. And then in terms of accessibility, I have to double check. Let me double check the front for the stairs. In terms of workability, Wi-Fi is here. Music is nice. It's not too loud. Also, so that's environment. In terms of parking, lots of parking. Parking is enough. in the next building over. So you have to be careful when you're coming down the one way down Harbour Street because you might pass it. It's in the Grace Kennedy parking. But it's actually very good and accessible. So there's a little walk in and it's a beautiful, like you can look out the windows and you're looking over across the waterfront over towards Northern Link and watch the planes taking off. I would come in just to do that on a slow day to work and to just sit and look out. Like I feel like if I had something to write or something, also people watching, you can watch all the people in the cars, you can watch people on their cell phones, you can watch who is rushing to get somewhere. Where I think it must have been a petrol truck or something because the hose was fell on the ground and it said flammable and the guy came out when he came out to pick up the hose to put it back he had to put gloves on, which means he probably should not be rubbing on the ground. So, but you know, you see, there's so much character in Jamaica, and you're like seeing it already among historical buildings or among the manufacturing district, and it's just like palm trees and like waterfront and the birds, the gulls and the crows, and I don't know, I love it, and I love well lit spaces and there's lots of lighting. So I'm gonna stop rambling, but also the serving of the carrot cake is very good. I just want to say that. Um, so yeah. I also want to shout out or big up Raquel. Raquel recently started watching my videos, and she's been going back and watching them and leaving comments. And I love that because I like talking to people about books. I make these videos for myself, okay? But the fact but the fact that there are people coming to watch and like talk about their views on these books is like really exciting. And that's all. I just want to talk about books. So that's all I want to talk about. And I'll see you next time. Also, have a good summer. If you're in and out, have a good summer. I know, yes, for the most people, it's regular scheduled programming. For me, I'm academic, so I have work, but I don't have classes right now. Um, and so I read a lot, but I also have a lot of things to work on, research, all of that. So, um, yeah, just have a good summer and take some time for yourself and let me know what you're reading.